the question becomes, what do the Browns do with Baker Mayfield? Let's take a look. ESPN has an article about the best fits for Baker Mayfield, and they say the best fit is the Seattle Seahawks. Bill Barnwell is guessing the Browns would be looking at potentially a third-round pick, likely in 2023. Important to note, today the quarterback market and the Baker Mayfield market kind of keeps shrinking. So the Colts traded a third-round pick to the Falcons to get Matt Ryan. The Falcons signed Marcus Mariota to a 2-year contract. The Saints signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year contract. So logically, the only two spots that are still in that we might need a starting quarterback, Carolina Panthers, Seattle Seahawks, who have Drew Lock. There was also some reports, Jason La Canfora said the 49ers could be a landing spot. That would obviously be as a backup to Trey Lance, though. Do you think the Browns can get, a third-round pick, a second-round pick for Mayfield? It's going to be tough because of his contract.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because of the contract. I think it's more term than the cap hit. I mean, $18.8 million seems like a lot, but for quarterbacks, not really a lot of money. I think it just comes down to the fact that you'd be getting a guy for a year, essentially a rental. I think that's kind of what would more be putting teams off on Baker more than, what they would have to pay him, number one. And number two, like you said, obviously the options drying up. The Seahawks, at least they're putting it out there that they seem to like Drew Lock. I would almost rather have Baker Mayfield at quarterback than Drew Lock at quarterback. And I mean, if Seattle would be an interesting fit because they do have a very good run game with Chris Carson at running back, two very good receivers in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Obviously, I don't know how he would do in kind of the weather in Seattle. It'd be interesting, but I think it could be a good fit for him, a chance to get a fresh start. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, what happens. Carolina seems like they definitely could get into the mix because this is how desperate they've been to get a quarterback. I mean, they traded a bunch to get Sam Darnold last year. It didn't work. Do they want to do it again? Do they want to take another shot on a veteran, take a flyer on Baker Mayfield, or do they wait in the draft and take Malik Willis at number 6 overall or something like that? I mean, if they might have to worry about that in case the Detroit Lions decide to take a quarterback at 2nd overall. Those are the questions right now. I think that have got to be going on in those offices all around the NFL where those teams are looking for a quarterback. Right now it looks bleak for Baker, but all it takes is one phone call from a GM who's just desperate enough to make a deal and Andrew Berry to say okay. But I think the big thing is got to find a way to get something for him to get that cap hit off if you're the Browns, so you can kind of continue to reload this team and give them a shot to win as early as possible, maybe even this season.